Where is the accountability? Why is it always our fault? Yes, I chose the nice guy. No, what happened turned out to be a covert narcissist, completely destroyed my self-worth and confidence. So then I decided to remove myself from the dating pool and heal and grow and evolve into who I am today, meaning now I'm celibate, not dating, and I'm happy with my life. But now I'm too picky because my standards and boundaries are really strong and really high, and I'm gonna die with a bunch of cats. Because I'm too picky. I guess I'll take the cats or the bear or the shark, and I'll stay alone if these are my options.
Welcome to the wall. Modern women don't hit the wall out of bad luck, but because of their own choices. They spend years blaming men, but never stop to think about what men actually want. They just repeat the same empty lines from feminist gurus, from frustrated women, or those who outright hate men just for being men. As you'll see in this video, help us reach 170,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. We always highlight the best one. And endless thanks to the fans who watch our videos every day. Let's get started.
I have often suggested that straight women just stop dating men, and I'm reading The Tragedy of Heterosexuality right now, and this line is just summing up exactly my thoughts. The normalization of misogyny in a woman's sense that although straight men are often unlikable and/or abusive, women must endure them anyway, because how else are women going to get their sexual and romantic needs met? I've made videos in the past where I think it's important that straight women listen to queer women when it comes to our perspectives of men because we don't have the rose-colored glasses, and oftentimes I would get back with defensive arguments that, well, we're straight, we are attracted to men, like what else are we supposed to do? And I find it interesting where she talks about the misogyny paradox in this book as well, where women are attracted to men and then they end up being completely disappointed in their romantic relationships because men don't like women. And I find it really interesting that if straight women would read texts similar to this or have conversations around this, they would be able to find fulfillment outside of these romantic desires that are often conditioned to begin with. She also talks about that, how heterosexuality is a manufacturing of intimacy and men and women typically haven't liked each other in history.
Fuck up, you crazy bitch whore!
If women don't like men, then what are we even doing here? Humanity itself depends on that union. These modern women seem more like a group of frustrated lesbians who hate men, coming up with far-fetched theories just to validate a point no one actually agrees with, their own hatred toward the male side. They say heterosexuality is a social construct, that men and women have never truly liked each other, but that's just false. Humanity exists because there was attraction, love, and connection between both sexes. The hatred they show doesn't come from real experiences, it comes from frustration. That's why they're always digging through history, looking for excuses from hundreds of years ago to justify the resentment they feel today. They're not after equality, they want to erase men.
Me? Or are you fucking exhausted from dating? Jesus fucking Christ. I get it. It's never been easy. I lived in New York. Trust me, I know. But I feel like nowadays it's a fucking uphill battle. If it's the guy that I met at the gym who said, "Oh my God, you're so stunning. My Lord, you're so gorgeous," but won't ask me out. Okay, single. I know he is. Or the guy that I met and we had a nice 2-month little thing, and then of course self-sabotage because why should anything actually work out, right? Not being Debbie Downer, not being negative, being realistic here. Let's call a spade here. But I tried it. Came to San Diego to see some family and was like, well, let's see what's out there. Tried talking to a guy at the gym. Nope, don't do that. They're terrified of that. Matched with a few guys. Got one date this weekend. Cool, we're going to go for a hike. We love that. But all the other ones, either it's, I just want to go with the flow. I don't want anything serious. Let's just see what happened. No, thanks. Not interested. Or you have a conversation and they never respond, or it falls flat because you're like, cool. Now what? It's tough out there. It's fucking tough. You're not alone. Doesn't matter what city you live in. It doesn't matter what age demographic. I don't want to fucking hear it. We're all struggling. And I think it's time to take a little bit of a break. I got to focus on my business and me and mourning my dog and all of those things. But, just want to commiserate. You're not the fuck alone. It is exhausting.
Most of these dating coaches are nothing more than frustrated single women with issues toward men. They've spent years talking about love without actually having it themselves. And of course, it's easy to sell nonsense when all you have are theories and resentment. They're constantly giving advice on how to read signals, how to handle a man, how to put yourself first. Yet none of them can maintain a stable relationship. I'm sure men can spot the feminist bias from a mile away. They check out their social media, hear how they talk about men, and they're out. Who would want to date a woman who's always pushing tricks to manipulate men, who says we're all failures and never acknowledges the good we bring? Men avoid women who bring chaos into their lives, and this kind of woman is the definition of that.
Women.
I'm so fucking tired of being disappointed by men. I'm so fucking tired of getting hurt. I'm so fucking tired of men lying and then calling it honesty. I'm so tired of men pretending like they want to be in a relationship with you and literally pretend and act like they are in a relationship with you just for them to turn around weeks later and say they don't want a relationship with you. So what the fuck were you doing the entire time? Were we playing pretend? How old are we? I thought we stopped playing pretend when we turned like 9. Why are we still doing it? Why are you a little boy in a man's body? Why have you not matured yet? Why do I have to be disappointed and feel like a fool every fucking time? I'm so tired. Because from what I've also learned about guys is that they know right away. They know pretty early on if they see it with you or they don't, and they're not going to waste their fucking time if they don't see it, right? And I'm not talking about like just keeping you around, kind of breadcrumbing you just to like be able to get into your pants so that, you know, you go out on a night out so that they can text you at 2 a.m. and you come over. I'm just saying, like, I've gone through enough, I've been through enough that like I know the difference. I can usually spot the difference. I'm talking about guys that are coming over, cooking me dinner, hanging out multiple times a week, going on dates, paying for things. I'm meeting their friends, they're meeting my friends. Like, very much dating, right? So you can do all of the long-term relationship-y things with me, but then turn around and say you don't see the long-term relationship with me. Everyone's like, oh my god, Lindsay, how do you deal with heartache? How do you deal with like getting rejected and getting your feelings hurt? I like don't handle it well, but the more it happens, the better I become at just like fucking letting it go. I used to always turn it around and be like, okay, well, what happened? And why me? And what did I do wrong? And why didn't he like me? Now, there's no rhyme or reason. I've literally learned that it is nothing to do with me. And that's not to say I'm perfect. That's not to say that, like, you know, everyone has to like me. But it doesn't matter, honestly, what they tell me. It doesn't make it any better. So asking them, like, what went wrong, save yourself the fucking time. Save yourself the text message. Save yourself. They're gonna lie. You're never gonna get the real truth. Sucks to get excited about someone and to really put your time and energy and for it to be reciprocated and for it to be going well and then for it to be taken away from you without you understanding and without getting any type of like good reason. Because most likely it has nothing to do with you. Because honestly, I think he could see a long-term relationship with me because he wouldn't have done all that shit if he couldn't have. And it's something that he needs to deal with within himself. Either one, he's not ready for a long-term relationship, period. Not because it's with you, with anyone. And maybe you're the first girl that he actually started to see and feel a long-term relationship with. And he panicked. He freaked out. He had put his foot in the water and he panicked and got cold feet and basically blamed it on you. When in reality, he might have some unhealed trauma, isn't over his ex-girlfriend, is stressed out. Like, you never fucking know, but most of the time, the guy is not going to take the responsibility or take the time to probably self-reflect and deep dive into why he can't see a relationship with you when you guys get along like a house on fire, and he probably won't find someone that he gets along better with in a while. And maybe he'll figure it out later and, you know, and be like, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have done that. But by that point, it's going to be too fucking late. So I can sit here and boo-hoo and be upset and, you know, and try to hope that he figures out what he lost, or just understand that the person that you're meant to be with won't fucking, like, let you go and will realize how special the person in front of them is and won't do shit like this.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
When a man rejects a woman, it's usually because he doesn't see a future with her, found something better, or noticed behaviors he doesn't want in a wife. From the outside, she might look like a high-value woman, but the mistake was moving too fast. In less than 2 or 3 months, they were already acting like a serious couple, and that can be overwhelming. When you take so many steps so early, You leave no room for the relationship to grow naturally. Like I always say, the man who shows too much hunger doesn't eat, and the same goes for women. If you already gave everything so quickly, what's left? Getting engaged, married, moving in together? That's too much, too soon. Most likely, he felt overwhelmed and chose to walk away before things went any further. It wasn't immaturity, it was maturity to realize he didn't want anything serious.
Is anybody else over dating? It's like the level of entitlement that these men have. Not all of you are bad, just saying, but there is something to be said for the majority of you men out there that the majority of us women are putting up with. And yes, I know women can suck too, but let me just say this. The audacity that men feel so entitled to your body just because you went out on a date with them. Like, I'm dating to get to know somebody. It's like they either meet you out to lunch or dinner, or maybe they pay for it, or maybe you go half and half. But whatever the case is, it's like they still feel entitled to your body, and they treat you differently if you don't sleep with them. And I've had it happen so many times where, they think that just because you're going out or something that they're entitled to your body. And that's just not how it's supposed to be. Like, dating is supposed to be a time to get to know the other person. It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to experience life outside the bedroom a little bit together, before, figuring out if you guys are compatible and you're ready for that. And it just makes me really sad, hookup culture and how messed up that all these guys are. Like, seriously though, the level of entitlement that you feel entitled to my body just because I texted you back and just because we went on a date, like, come on. It's not flattering anymore. It's not flattering. A lustful man does not flatter me anymore. It's the most shallow level of connection that you can possibly have. And I am just done with lustful men. So goodbye to all of you lustful men. I want nothing to do with you. Most of us women don't want anything to do with you. You're making us lose faith in finding a real relationship, and you're making these good men look bad out there. And that's really sad that the majority of the men have to put a bad name on actual good men. Like, I have such bad trust issues at this point. And also just from knowing that all they care about is my body. They don't care about anything else. They mirror me all day long, pretend like they have the same interests. And at the end of the day, they'll throw a hissy fit if you don't sleep with them. So none of it was genuine. None of it was real. And I don't think I ever want to let another guy touch me at this point. Like, I am so, so done.
She complains that men only want intimacy, but she doesn't mention how many men she cuts off for being too slow. If a guy doesn't make a move by the second or third date, she drops him. With women, you never really know. You might wait to suggest something intimate, but in the meantime, she's going out with you and a few others. Don't get me wrong. I have no issue with a woman dating multiple people if she's not in a committed relationship. She doesn't owe anyone anything. But that lack of exclusivity puts pressure on a man to move fast, so he doesn't end up looking like this slow guy who gets friend-zoned. Because let's be honest, most decent men, the ones she claims to want, are the ones who end up in that zone. Meanwhile, the classic Chad who just invites her to watch Netflix doesn't get nearly as much resistance. So keep that in mind. Don't come on too weak, but don't come on too strong either.
I was having a conversation with a man recently, and we were talking about the gender pay gap, and he said, I can't believe that you believe in the gender pay gap. Yeah, and like statements like that make it really hard for me to want to speak to men or interact with them, and let alone date them or be in any kind of romantic situation. Because what do you mean you can't believe that I believe in a well-documented, trackable occurrence that has happened to me personally, right? So I tell him, I don't know what you mean by you can't believe I believe in it. It's something that we're able to easily track and define and understand. And it's very well documented. We know that this is real, that this happens. And also I've personally experienced this. And he's like, no, because the reason that it's not right is because they take all of men's salary and all of women's salary, and then they compare the two. But because women have children and they're gone for 3 months, that makes it so that the average, is not really reflective of the time. First of all, that's not how they fucking calculate it. It's not. It's comparable men and comparable women with similar experience. Because if they were to do it the way that he was saying, it would be attacked immediately. And people would be like, no, that's not right. That's not factual. No. Any way that you split it, the gender pay gap is real. Women and men who are doing the exact same job with the exact same experience, the woman will still be paid less in most instances, right? So I mentioned again how I had this as a personal experience of mine. I worked my first job out of college at a place where someone who was my peer, who was the exact same age as me, we had a very comparable experience, except that he did not have a degree, which is fine. And he started off making $7,000 more than me when I was told that my salary was non-negotiable. And we were at the same title, and they made a whole stink about how people at the same title were compensated the same because that's what your title reflected, and equity and la 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 la. Right? So that happened to me. And when I pushed back about it, they did not have any real reasons as to why this person was being paid more than me. And then they perpetuated that in the raises, and they flattened out people who are women or femmes, and the man was still getting paid more than all of us, right? So I'm telling him a little bit about this experience, and he starts defending the man. He starts saying that there's probably something that I don't know because it's illegal, and so they wouldn't discriminate in that way. So yeah, he was blocked promptly. And I just would really encourage, if you're a man out there and you like have those kinds of thoughts that these things don't exist, please do your research, like scientifically proven factual information, and like act accordingly. Respect women in your life. Listen to women when they tell you things. Listen to them when they tell you about an experience that you wouldn't believe because you haven't had to experience it because you were a man. Thank you. And the same thing applies to all systems of oppression. So yes, if you're a white person, I'm talking about listening to people of color and black people. I'm talking about listening to black women. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
This woman talks about the gender pay gap, as if all men earn more just for being men. But what she doesn't mention is that most of the highest paying jobs are also the toughest, most dangerous, and physically demanding, and men are the ones doing them. She complains about earning less, yet she's not out there lifting steel beams, working in a mine, operating heavy machinery, or spending 12 hours under the sun. The stats don't lie. The gap exists largely because of the kinds of jobs each gender tends to choose. Women go for stability, comfort, and flexible hours. Men take on risk, effort, and danger. That comes at a cost, and the market pays for it. It's not discrimination, it's the result of choices. And then there's the whole work environment issue. A lot of managers know that when a team is made up entirely of women, interpersonal conflicts tend to spike. That's why they often bring in a man to balance things out. Nobody wants to talk about how difficult it can be sometimes to work with a group of women.
Women.
We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. Have you ever worked in a department with mostly women? What was your experience like? Why do you think some women seem to hate men so much? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to keep creating more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.